Yeah, it's your boy D1, man. Everybody wanna know what you mean when you say God and girls. Check it. If it ain't about God, it's about these girls. Yeah. If it ain't about God, it's about these girls. Yeah. Everybody know they rule the world. Yeah. Everybody know.
Just a fun fact. My guest and I were looking for home-related songs, and it was not easy. No. We ended up finding a Florida, but it was not easy. So we need all the artists to start making more songs about home ownership. Okay.
I keep on thinking about like Jill Scott. Like it has to be like a
"Come over to my place." Who's singing that? Come on over to Come on over to my place.
I know what song you're talking about, but I don't know who's singing.
Is it Teddy Pendergrass?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my Teddy Pendergrass. Okay. So we're at episode 23. We're talking Black Girls in Real Estate. This is Staci, your Girl Talk University. I'm here accompanied by the beautiful Miss Jackie Carter. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a little nervous, but great.
Don't feel nervous. I mean, we have some spirits here if you want to take part. I don't know how you feel about that, but don't feel nervous. We're going to have a good time. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Worked, but great day. Happy I have something to do and work for.
Yes.
During these times.
Amen. And my work is going to be geared towards purchasing what we're going to be talking about today, which is real estate. So for those of you that are wondering how Jackie and I met, it was a really cool interaction. I had the problem of looking for houses before I had all the ducks in a row. I thought I had the ducks in a row, but I only had maybe 3 out of 10 ducks in a row. But I just wanted to manifest this house. So I would go looking for houses, and I met this beautiful agent in one of the open houses in sunny side of Houston, and it was just an instant connection. So we've been lifelong. We have created a lifelong network ever since then. Was that a year ago?
Yeah.
That was a whole year ago?
Probably a little bit over a year ago. Because we were in COVID.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that was a while ago. So she is a renowned real estate agent in the city of Houston. And I'm happy that you joined us. I don't know why you laughing. See, this is the thing, right? People don't want to accept my gas. I'm going to gas you, okay? If you're in my presence, it's my job to find the good qualities.
I was just listening to some book. I don't know if I was reading Atomic Habits or what successful business people do in the morning. But it said something about take it in. When people gas you up, that means they mean it. Take it in. Yes.
It's my favorite thing to do. I feel like if I can gas you up and it makes you smile, it makes you feel good, it's just that transfer of positive energy, and you're going to bounce it off, and it's just a good circle of good energy. That's a sidebar. We'll talk about energy, maybe mix up. So let's talk about girls in real estate. How long have you been a real estate agent?
5 years, almost 6 years.
Okay, so you're kind of a veteran in the game now. I feel like in any profession these days, once you get to year 5, you're a veteran in the game.
Yeah.
How's it been?
5 years. It's trying, but it's my passion. So I really, really love it. I mean, honestly, I'm not the most successful, but I'm getting there. So it's happening.
Okay. You are successful, and you will be more successful. That's what she meant.
Yes.
So, look, I know that we met in Sunnyside, so I know you see all sorts of people. In terms of like girls and women, right? Well, I say women. What has been the thing, or has there been, hey y'all, we gotta move. Yeah, it's an environmental friendly room. So,
if we move,
or maybe it's gone forever.
Maybe.
Is it gonna fade?
Turn the light on. Open the door.
Oh, we turn the ring lights. Pause, everyone. Maybe. That was not an air bucket.
It's not.
Hold, everyone. We can still talk in the dark, but we want you guys to see our beautiful faces. Boom. Oh, that's not.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's on the other side.
Right.
Yeah, they're not gonna stop nothing.
Is that just I'm trying to see if that was just the AC or I was wondering if that's just the AC or is it like a timer for the woman?
Yeah, I was thinking even if it is, it's not 8, so I don't know why. I'm real love it. Boom.
Oh.
See, that's the thing. You know, they try to keep you down. They can't keep black women down. Can y'all see it? Look.
yeah. They,
Boom.
Yeah. It's a
See?
little bright in your shirt.
Yeah.
But that's not a huge deal.
Huh?
I said it's a little bright in your shirt, but that's not a huge deal. I'm also trying to make sure that the Facebook one is actually. I think my computer is being a little weird right now.
Should we turn the other one or is it?
I can see you just fine. That's
Okay,
not an
cool.
issue that
So
I'm
let's
trying
keep
to figure
going.
out.
What about on IG? Is it good when the viewer sees?
Yes.
Cool. So let's keep going. So, pardon those people that have been joining us on the live. We are in an environmental friendly building, so the lights shut off at any drop of stillness. Okay? So we apologize about that, but guess what? We stayed prepared, and now you're going to see our beautiful faces, and we're going to continue this conversation. I always notice that when you're doing something really, really good, there's like a slight wrench that's thrown in to see if it's gonna knock you out your game. But it's been happening so much, especially in 2020. It's been happening so much. I just take it and I turn it around for good. So thank you for being patient with us, viewers at GTU. Thank you, Jackie, for being patient. Let's keep on moving. So where we left off was I was asking you, what is the one thing, if any, that you've seen in terms of trends with women purchasing homes or just navigating the real estate process?
There's a lot more women than men out there doing it on their own, purchasing
Really?
homes. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like when you just get tired of paying rent. Like, I'm just tired of paying for somebody else's property.
Right.
So at that point, do I get my own property so I can build up my own assets, or do I keep paying for somebody else's property? So I would say there's a lot of women out there, especially where I met you at in Sunnyside. You have the medical center. So you got a lot of women that are nurses and so forth over there where, you might as well get your own versus paying rent.
That's true. I was going to say, there's definitely a historical piece that comes with like black folks wanting homes, right? I feel like it was the first thing that was quote unquote promised to us, after slavery and Reconstruction. We were promised land and home ownership. Whether that came to fruition or not, that's for the social studies teachers and the government officials. But I will say that, at least in my family, home ownership is like this thing that you must achieve. Has that been your experience, or like?
Me personally, in my life, no, because I grew up a little different as far as coming from Cleveland, Detroit area. I think my father, maybe my grandfather, was the first person who had a house, and he literally had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with 5 kids. Now, on the other hand, my mother's father had a big home. He built a big home on a big piece of land. And that was shocking. But as far as, and he died when my mom was young, so as far as home ownership, it wasn't really ingrained. Yes, my mother and my father do have a home, but that wasn't like, it wasn't pushed into me. To go get home.
For me, I would say in my family, it's not something that they said that we must do, but I saw my aunts and my mom, even my dad, I saw them like so focused on purchasing a home. And I was growing up like, what's the big deal, you know? But I think that historical piece has a lot to do with it. The majority of them now own their homes, and I guess just seeing them strive to even their 50s and 60s, like even if it hasn't happened yet, it's gonna happen. You know, right. I'm like, wow, you're getting up in age, and that's still like a primary goal of yours, and it must be something I need to do too. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that.
And it definitely is. I feel like everyone should have a home. It's funny because during the elections, I was working with the judge who was a lawyer, and he asked me where I lived, and I told him, and I was like, "And where do you stay?" And he told me, but later on that day, he was talking about. He was like, we were actually talking about redlining and how black people, were disenfortunate and they didn't want to give people loans and mortgages and so forth. And he was like, it's weird. He was like, I asked you where you live because I'm brought up where a place where I had a home. I lived in one home. You asked me where you stay because most black people don't own homes and they just kind of stay here and stay there.
Yeah. I mean, the vernacular and the language, the semantics is important. Where you stay at? Where you stay at? Because there's not that sense of permanence.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a tough thing. And I mean, even pushing people to like switch their semantics when they're speaking is something that I think we can strive for. But there are some people out there that's I even say an ex-boyfriend of mine was like, I mean, you're gonna be paying a mortgage for 30 years, so I might as well pay rent for 30 years,
No.
At least I have the maintenance, and the this and the that. So there is that group of people that are like renting is where it's at. So what do you have to say to those people?
You need to have your own. Wealth.
Yeah, what she wants to say to me have your own shit. That's what she wants to say.
You need to build your own wealth. You need to build wealth for your children, be able to pass something down to them. It's no point in you paying somebody else's rent when you can have your own assets.
Yeah, for sure.
And even as a woman, if you go ahead and get your own house and then you meet somebody, if he doesn't have a house, he can move into your house. He may not want to move into your house.
What?
But
my throat got dry. What just
he moves into your house.
I'm just kidding.
Y'all save on rent for
Right.
him, and then y'all can get together and purchase your own
I agree with
together.
that. I agree with that.
And then after that, you can either have a rental property, or you sell it, and you got equity from that.
Right.
So,
And I what I'm learning now, and now I'm in my 30s, but what I'm learning now is there are real estate agents who are experts, right? But everybody can have a piece of the pie, right? You don't have to be some super expert or super professional to purchase a home and have equity and have a stream of income. It doesn't take all that, right?
I think
anybody can do it.
I think you do need a professional to help you purchase your home.
Right. No, I'm saying in terms of after you buy the home, right? You don't have to be a real estate agent to make money from that. Of course, you need a professional to help you navigate the process. But I think people don't realize a home is not just buying a home for the sake of saying you have a house.
Man,
it can be a financial
investment. So when I first bought my first house, I had to live. Well, I was with an ex-boyfriend, and make a long story short, the best thing I should have done is just purchased a condo or a small little house in the hood, or purchase something, one of those little older homes in Galleria area. That's what I wanted to do. A townhouse in the Galleria area, it was about like $95,000. Right, back in 5-6 years ago, before I became a real estate agent. I should have just went on ahead and did that. But my boyfriend at the time, he had to have a brand new house. We had to be in the suburbs. He wanted to go out there so bad. We moved out there and everything changed for me. I wasn't happy out there. I was too far out in Katy off of 99 in Clay Road. And
I don't even know what's that really.
It's
far.
Heard of it. It's far. And I'm like, I'm driving so far to get into the city and so forth. And like, I bought that house. I actually ended up selling that house 13 months after I bought it. Literally. Like, I had to kill that relationship because you turned me into something that I'm not. I'm not. But I should have just bought something small could have went on ahead, lived there for a little while. I would have not been paying rent. That still would have been mine. And then now today, if I would have sold that little bitty house that I planned on buying, would have made a huge come up.
Yeah.
But it would have been better than me renting.
Right.
But what did I do? I sold it. I actually did make a profit on it. I made a $20,000 profit on it selling it.
You did that.
But I sold it and came back to the city.
Yeah, I would say, and you can speak to this, of course. I would say what I've learned about myself is that I needed to know my non-negotiables before I got serious about this home buying process.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I gotta live in the city, like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people like the suburbs, and that's cool, that's great. Especially if you want a yard for your family and stuff. But I'm not saying I'm completely opposed to that. But I like being in the city. I grew up in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in the city. For me, I don't need a lot of space, but I like upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
So I can take a 900 square foot or 1,000 square foot situation, as long as it's clean and new and fresh. Whereas some people will take, an older home, but it has to be big. I don't need space. So I think for me, even though I haven't purchased a home yet, I've learned a lot about what I want when it's time.
And that's what you guys have to realize when you get a real estate agent. You really need to, most good real estate agents will make you sit down and do a want and a need.
Mm-hmm.
And you literally sit down and put everything you want and everything you need. And you realize a lot of your wants, you think they needs, but they actually just wants.
Mm-hmm.
And once you come to figure out, or once we try to figure out, okay, well, this is your budget, this is what you qualify for, so this is how much money we got, let's look at this. Now let's figure out, these are everything that you need and you want. What are you going to take off?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do make the mistake of going out and walking into $500,000 homes
I don't
and
know.
$400,000 homes. It just depends. And you see things before you realize what you can actually afford.
Yeah.
So, but it's still best to just get something.
Mm-hmm.
Build your way up.
For
Most
sure.
people only live in a house for less than 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know that when I purchased this house, hopefully within the year, that I may not stay in it for a long time, but it'll be the start to a future of investments. It'll be the start. What is the one thing that you think stands in the way of black women? Hey, lights. This is episode 23 of Girl Talk University. Staci here with the lovely Miss Jackie Carter, real estate agent in the Houston area. We've had a great time with the light situation in our podcast room, but we're going to keep moving. What is the one thing that you think stands in the way of ladies purchasing homes? Because I know you said ladies are buying them, but I know you meet people like me who are just, not there yet. What do you think the one thing is? Of course, I think credit is one thing.
Of course, credit is one thing. A lot of us have a lot of student debt, so your debt to income ratio throws you off. But to be honest, majority of it is a lot of women want to wait until they're married. They want to wait until they find that guy to get that home. And like I said, I don't think if you can get a home, if you can afford a home, I would go ahead and do it. And then once you meet that guy, then you guys figure out what you want to do with purchasing a different home.
Yeah, I think that is something I really want to do, being that I'm not married yet. I really want to purchase a home, and when I meet him, whether he has a home or not, it's going to be an investment for us. Like, I definitely want that to happen. And I don't know, I guess it's just like a value set. I know some friends that are like, now that they are dating and serious, they're serious about home ownership. I think it could be a level of like, I don't want to live in a house by myself.
Living in a house by yourself versus living in an apartment is pretty much the same thing.
Is it?
I mean, you just gotta be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
We're talking about saving yourself.
No, I'm not gonna say get you a gun. I'm not gonna say that on Girl Talk. Get you a gun. Anyway,
but you do want to get you a taser. You want to get, I can't remember the name of that thing, but I actually bought one where you connect it to your keys and it's like a little pick that you stab somebody with.
Get that?
A pen and just whatever. You just gotta be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. I would say that. I would say, I've been thinking about the home ownership thing, and I'm like, man, I'm already scared sometimes in this apartment. Am I going to be more fearful when I get a bigger house? But That's about those wants and needs. I don't need a big house where it's like a lot of space and I hear sounds and I'm like freaking myself out. I can deal with a small space even when I'm close to people on both sides because I have that pseudo sense of like protection.
And then another thing is, in that type of realm, you just go ahead and buy a house with a garage.
Right.
You just pull in the garage.
Gotta have a garage.
Close and don't get out your car until your garage door goes.
That's right. You're right. That's right. Tell me how, as women, what can we do to get prepared for the home ownership process? Because and my cousin is a former real estate agent. We just love just going around looking at houses, but I know that's typically the last step, or one of the last steps. It's not the first step, right? So talk to us about like the process. What can we do 1 year, 2 years, 3 years out, to get prepared for this?
First thing you need to do is get rid of the credit cards or cut them credit cards down. First thing you need to do is look at your credit.
Yeah.
You want to be at least a 620.
Yeah.
The higher your credit, the better off you will be.
Yeah.
Next thing to do would be you don't even really need to talk to a real estate agent first. You need to go talk to a lender first.
Sure. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
No, really. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. A lot of people, including myself, just go straight to the agents. Sometimes the agents are like more readily available, I would say. Especially if you don't know the process. It's like, no, I'm not going to talk to you yet. I'm going to talk to you. Talk to the lender first, because that's what it's going to do.
I mean, you come to me, and the first thing, you came to me.
Yeah.
First thing, I'm like, okay, well, here's the code number.
Yeah.
I need you to call her. Because not that you're wasting our time, because you're not wasting our time, because you're going to be a client one day.
Right.
But you can't expect an agent to go around showing you houses and they don't know what you qualify for.
Right. And it is a waste of both persons' time, especially you're looking at $500,000 houses, you only qualify for 150. It's like, it'll make you feel bad in the end.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm sorry I went and I showed you this beautiful house. Let's switch this up. You only qualify for 150. We need to go to Umbo and Katie. We need to take it out. Because unfortunately, within the city, prices have went up.
Yeah, that was the next question. There's this huge buzzword that starts with the G, gentrification. I mean, some people are for it, some people are against it. My take on it is, if we are revitalizing a community, as long as people that look like me are part of it, I'm good. What has been your take or your experience with gentrification and just how Black folks have or don't have an opportunity to buy within the city limits?
I would have to say I love you because you are one of the few who are willing to come into the gentrification area. A lot of our people feel as though once they are able to purchase a home, they need to go live in the suburbs. And as we can see with what's going on with the situation right now, once you're out there further away from your people, it's a little bit more scarier.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. And furthermore, let's just be real, it's real talk here. If you're turning up in the city, going out, having drinks, happy hours, if you're a professional in your office or whatever's in the city, why in the HE double hockey sticks if I'm going to drive 45, 50 minutes, an hour just to get home? Falling asleep at the wheel, going to work, come on, no. And this is not to shade anybody that likes the suburbs. The suburbs are serene, they're beautiful, they have their purpose. But,
right.
I mean.
And I kind of feel like, you need to, people have their triangle that they like to stay in. And if I live in Katy, I'm probably got to kick it in Katy. I got to do everything in Katy.
That's the thing.
Hopefully I got to work in Katy too.
Yeah, because my first apartment when I first moved here from Atlanta was in West Chase, which is, I'd say 15 to 30, depending on how far minutes west of the city, downtown Houston. And it was cool, but I did everything in West Chase. Nails done, went to the HEB, I went to the bars, did everything in West Chase. And now that I live in the city of Houston, I'm like, I don't want this to stop. And I mean, it was the same thing in Atlanta. I think that's the thing, how you kind of grow up will definitely shape you. I didn't live in downtown Atlanta, but I lived so close to downtown. It can't be any other way.
No, my husband, his whole thing was, we need to buy a house in the suburbs. We need to buy a house in the suburbs. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be all the way real with y'all. working on his credit.
Yeah.
So we need to do this thing. And then, as me being a realtor, I don't have a steady income. Mm-hmm. So I need his good paycheck, good job. So we will talk about if you want to switch your position to being a realtor, but that's one thing. That's one part of it.
Yeah. It sounds like, well, I can't really equate it to like different types of attorneys where it's like the pay can be good, but you have to wait for the checks or for the money to come in. What are the highs and lows of being a realtor? Because I will say, and this is a compliment, I've seen a lot of my close friends from like high school and college go into the real estate industry, and they're doing great. They're doing fantastic. So, what are the highs and lows of just being a realtor as a Black woman?
I mean, me, my love language is acts of service. So, like, it makes me more happier to see you get those keys, when you get those keys, versus when you, I mean, like, I would be happier than you would be. Because that's just my love language. I just like servicing people and giving them what they need. So that's my thing. I meet somebody, we go through the whole process, and just when they get those keys, that's just like the best moment to me. Then my other favorite part is negotiating. I love negotiating the deal, writing contracts, so forth. Right, because I said I was going to be a lawyer when I was little.
We're going to still drive the law.
Yes. Yes.
What about the disadvantages? Are there any?
Yeah, there are disadvantages. You gotta hustle. It's a hustle. It's a 24/7 hustle. You gotta get out there. You gotta cold call. You gotta find leads. You gotta go. You know, get clients. Help your clients get to where they need to be. To get it, it could be a long process. That's pretty much it. It's just finding, keeping the next deal going, keep it going.
If you could tell, there are a lot of things I could tell my 17-year-old self. If there were some things you could tell young women, what would you tell them in terms of real estate?
You don't need to go to college. Or
to be a realtor or just
to be a realtor. Well, I'm not going to say that. To be a broker, it is easier for you to be a broker to have a college degree. So that's one thing. What I'm going to say is, nothing's wrong with community college. Like, community college, marketing classes, so forth. We all got these student loans.
And like I posted on my story today, listen, Joe Biden, if you win, I expect them student loans to be gone in the morning.
Man.
I ain't playing with y'all. Delete the student loans. No, seriously. I think for me, 2008 is what I feel really salty about. Because that was when the recession hit. The real estate market was like crazy good. At least in Atlanta. They were selling these nice houses for $50,000 and $60,000. Granted, I was only 21 years old at the time. And my mom was like, well, maybe I can buy a house and you two can just pay me the mortgage. And I'm like, okay. I feel like I was just in La La Land. If I knew then what I know now, I would have begged her, like, please do it. Because we would.
It depends, because that's when the boom happened. So pretty much in 2008, they was giving 2006, 2007, 2008, they giving everybody loans, anybody loans. Oh, you a stripper? You make this money? You ain't got no income. You ain't got no income tax though. It's cool. Here go a house. And then the boom happened, and everybody lost their property, and a lot of people went into foreclosure. So if she truly qualified for the house, yes, but they was giving things away to people that didn't qualify. And that's why we are in the predicament that we're in right now, as far as
that's true about how they're so tight with loans.
How they're so tight with loans, yeah.
And I mean, another thing I'm thinking of is just the fact that I didn't have a lot of money in college, but I would have like refund checks, from student loans. If I would have just saved not even $1,000 each time, $250, $500. I mean, 4 years of college, that's what, $10,000, $8,000. Then 2 years of grad. If I would have just saved just a little bit at a time, specifically for the purpose of down payment, in the future, I would be. Yeah, I feel like I would be in a different spot. So that's what I would want to tell girls and young women. Buy a house, sis, and if you're not ready right now, just put a little to the side because you will be ready one day.
I also want to tell people our age, I'm a little older than you, but people who have their kids, when they have their kids at like 18 and 15 and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Your kid is 18 now, don't kick your kid out the house.
Yeah.
We are the only community that kicks our kids out at 18, and when we do that, that automatically messes up their credit. They gotta go get credit cards and so forth. If you let your kids stay in the house with you and y'all are building and they're saving, they will have enough money like the other nationalities to just go ahead and put 20%.
Right.
Down.
If you, just pay me what you would pay the landlord. Just pay me that, and then after 2 years or 3,
hit the money.
Yeah.
Go get you a house.
Mm-hmm.
And that saves you so much, and that saves. And then once you
And
have
it
a
keeps
house,
the money and everything in the community. Yeah.
and then once you have a house, that ups your credit regardless.
Mm-hmm.
It gets your credit up,
Girl.
and then
Every time I go to the car, you don't have enough mortgage history. I know I don't have enough mortgage history. I ain't gonna get a mortgage yet, but you're right. You're right. I would say, I talked to a guy, I don't remember what country Africa he was from. I want to say Ghana. He was Ghanaian. And I was telling him, I live in my apartment. I was like 23 at the time. And he was like, why? You live by yourself? What do you mean? You're not there. I'm like, I got my own stuff. And he's like, I don't understand why y'all do that.
mm-hmm.
We can all live in this house. Yeah, it'll be a little cramped, I guess. We can live in this house and we can split a $1,200 mortgage 8 ways and have all this residual, all this money. Whereas you paying $1,200 by yourself, what you gonna do in 3 years? You know? So good tips.
And that's
Really
$1,200 is a mortgage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to tell, like, women out there in terms of just real estate and just the value of home ownership?
Like I said, home ownership builds wealth, builds generational wealth. It's a good thing. It's better than paying rent.
Yeah.
So much better than paying rent.
I will say one thing, and this might be a legal plug. There are a lot of younger people that I think are inheriting their grandparents and their parents' houses in the city of Atlanta or Houston, and they'll get these calls like, we'll buy your house cash, or let us take it off your hands, or they don't even know they're to inherit a house because they're not doing the proper due diligence. Don't sell those houses. Don't sell those houses. And I mean, I guess for some people it's like, let me sell the house and get this money because fixing up the house is more of a burden than a benefit. I don't care how messed up it is, fix it. I would even say save up your money or even take out a small loan to fix it because you're just sitting on gold.
Sunnyside, 5th Ward, 3rd Ward is already gone. Galena Park, Acres Homes, anywhere close around the city, keep your house. Please. Now, I may come and send you a letter and ask you to sell it to me, but keep your house.
Generally,
what I'm saying is, keep your house, keep your land. It's going up in value so much, so much. Even in Sunnyside, 3 years ago, I could buy a lot for $15,000. Now that lot is $65,000.
Yeah, I was thinking about buying a lot in 5th Ward 3 years ago. It was $10,000. I don't know what I could have done with the lot. I think we talked a little bit about lots and stuff. But now I know that one, that lot is gone. 2, it's probably tripled in value in 3 years. So
it has.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I will also say, for those persons, for those young women or young men, whoever's listening, if you have older people in your family that have homes, this is touchy though.
Right.
We need to know the succession plan for the home.
True.
Truly, I don't mean to sound like go do a money grab on all your family. I'm not saying that, but there needs to be a succession plan in place. The newer generations need to know who's to inherit these houses and things like that because of adverse possession. Because if nobody is paying the taxes after people go on to glory, and if people don't know that they were to inherit these houses, anybody can pick it up. So that's something that I've been hearing about over the past few years, And that really sucks because that's another way that we can keep wealth and keep home ownership within our community and just keep families thriving.
And I'm going to be 100% real with y'all. The first Tuesday of every month, every other goes down there and purchases that lot. And they will have to maybe even sit on it for 2 years. But if you don't come and claim it and pay those taxes, after 2 years, brand new house getting built on is being sold for.
And that's the thing, right? I'm telling you, like I've heard and seen myself, like you don't want to pay $2,000 or $4,000 taxes on a house that's worth $500,000 maybe or $300,000. Are you kidding me? Find that money. Everybody put the money together to pay those taxes.
And when she says that $500,000, you guys thinking no, like oh that shack my grandmother got off of cross timbers ain't really worth that. Yeah, it is. The land is, because we're just gonna knock it down. And the builders that I work with, they gonna split the lot up. They'll split it up where nobody has a backyard at all. And they're gonna put 8 houses on that lot.
Right.
And they're gonna sell each of those 8 houses for $299
That's right.
or plus. And it's gonna be 1,500 square foot house, no backyard, 3 bedrooms and a garage. Like,
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but I just wish that people would know about the succession plans of your grandma's house, your auntie's house, your great uncle's house, your mama's house, your daddy's house, and just have the ducks in a row. People don't like to talk about that because I guess it has to do with death and money. In other communities, and I'm not going to call out ethnicities or nationalities, in other communities, this is not taboo to talk about.
Right.
That's why half the reason I want to start Girl Talk. We need to talk about this. Let me see the deed. Let me see your will. Let me see who's to take, or let me see what's going on. What's owed on it? Is there a mortgage on it? Is there a second mortgage on it? We need to know these things so we can make sure our ducks are in a row. So I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know there's somebody out there who's going to hear something they don't even know it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that could be a financial blessing for some families. You know, so that's that. Do you have any questions for me? Sometimes I forget to ask that question. I like to ask that.
Okay. So you did, okay, so let's go back to the death of the property.
Okay.
Okay. You said adverse possession. Is that when there's no will and they have to probate it and nobody wants to pay for probate?
So adverse possession is like, okay, let's say there's a house, nobody's been in it, nobody's been frequenting it, it looks abandoned. After a certain amount of years, according to Texas statute, somebody can go get it. That's really it. It doesn't matter about the will or anything. And now if there is, if you look at the title and there's somebody there and they're still living and all that, you might have some issues that you have to work out, some signatures that you may need to get. But for that, if you're, let's say, grandma had a house and then she passed away and there's no deed to be found, there's nothing wrong with the title, nobody's been there, it's been a certain amount of years. I think the statutory period in Texas is 10 years, I think. Somebody, what's the name of the
that's what I'm just trying to think of right now. Like, so somebody could actually go live in that house. I can't think of the name of it right now. Somebody could actually go live in that house.
Squatting?
Squatters. Somebody could actually go in, squat, and if they've been there, I think in Texas for 3 years, and they've actually been taking care of the house.
Especially if they pay the taxes, it's a done deal.
Well, no, yeah, well, if you pay the taxes, then it's yours, yeah.
And it's just that, like, for people that don't know about this rule, it can happen to somebody in your family or even to you when that could have rightfully been your house, but you didn't know the process. So I would say just take an inventory of all of your family members that own homes and make sure, the mortgage is paid, or make sure there's nothing owed on it. Please make sure the taxes are paid. It's the number one way people get their stuff taken from them, And as a former teacher, I have to say this. I wish this was taught in school.
Oh, definitely.
Dang, man, like, all of this stuff I just learned in 5 years, I didn't know this stuff growing up. And I feel like my parents and my family did a good job, but I just didn't know this stuff. So, to the educators out there, push home ownership 101 and finance and, like, please.
Credit.
Credit too. Financial literacy. So, that's that. That has been Girl Talk episode 23 featuring the lovely Miss Jackie Carter, a wealth of knowledge, all the way from the Midwest, here in Houston, Texas. Catch us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, and every other place. And please, Jackie, let them know your IG tags, your email, anything you want to give if you're looking for her.
Well, if you're looking for me, you can put in Jackie Carter, H-A-R. You can also find me on Instagram at jackie.city.realtor. Or you could just go jackie.carter@compass.com and I'll be there.
It's been real. Wait, don't cut it off yet. I wanted to play my song again before the lights got cut off. I wanted to play my song.